Right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bulls of Ball Street, where we break down every single UFC card. Seems like we were just watching UFC 320, but here we are with UFC 321. Two title fights. The main event being Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. So we're going to break down every single fight on this card. Grant Wells and I, let's get into it.
All right, here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. We are here. All right, Jacqueline Amarim versus Mizuki Onui. What should we expect in here?
Yeah, I think Amarim is a giant favorite at this point, which makes a lot of sense here. Mizuki is coming off a big layoff. She rarely ever fights. Amarim, world champion, jiu-jitsu practitioner, both gi and no gi. You can see that in the octagon too. She is really, really dangerous on the ground. Definitely has been developing her striking as well. The wrestling is there, explosive takedowns. Like I said, striking has been getting better. It is mostly just there to set up the takedowns, but she is powerful. It's just a bit wild sometimes, a bit loose. Coming off the Polyana Viana win, where she got a takedown right away, worked her way to a pretty easy victory there. Inoue, she's been around for a long time despite not fighting very much. This is her second fight in 5 years, but from what I've seen, she's a pretty well-rounded girl. Very high volume, also gets hit with a lot. She lands 4.56 strikes per minute, absorbs 5.62. Not insanely powerful, but she can wear down her opponent with that striking volume. Has some takedowns in her back pocket. She can definitely catch you there. But Amarim should just win this one. The striking is proficient. Groundwork is, I think, on a different level than Inoue. She has fought more than once in like the last 5 years. I think everything just points towards Amarim here. Wouldn't even mind. I'm interested to see what the subline looks like, honestly.
I can check to see if that's posted. I don't think we have.
I think it's
anything
Thursdays,
like
yeah.
that yet. But that would be an under 2.5 most likely, which is minus 140. I'm on the Amarim side as well. I do think that Mizuki has some potential to make this fight go to the distance. I don't think she's quite the pushover that this line might suggest. So I do think Amarim probably cruises to a unanimous decision in this one. I'm going to take the over at plus 110 in this one. It's rare that you see a fight like this have plus money next to the over. So
Facts.
let's hop in on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go with Amarim by decision here. I don't know, it is what it is. It's kind of process with these fights. All right, on to the next one. Azat Maxim versus Mitch Raposo. I'm pretty sure we're familiar with Mitch. I'm not sure we're super familiar with Maxim. So let's get familiar.
Yeah, this should be a fun fight. Azat, fun, exciting prospect. Same with Mitch Raposo. Mitch Raposo, number one prospect out of the New England region, I think it's the New England region is what that part of the MMA world is called. But he comes from New England Cartel, and you can tell he's a really clean boxer, good striking. Gaps in his wrestling game, though, for sure. Like pretty much everyone at New England Cartel. Very young. He's only 27 years old. But has kind of been in and out of the UFC scene for a while. He lost on The Ultimate Fighter. He was also on Dana White's Contender Series, where he lost to Jake Hadley, and then looking for his first UFC win now. Azat Maxim, really well-rounded guy, very fast, very dangerous, good striking technique, fast and slippery in scrambles. Grappling is there. He is riding back-to-back losses, but losses of quality. He lost in a decision to Tagir Ulanbekov, and I thought he looked decent in that one, honestly. He defended 8 of Tagir's takedowns. He landed 3 of his own takedowns, landed more significant strikes. So, I mean, Azat, I think, is just kind of on another level than Mitch Raposo is right now, so I'm going to go with Azat. It could be fun. I think he has a lot more ways to win. I mean, that loss he just took to Gear, he looked better than I think any of Raposo's wins have really looked. So I'm gonna go with Azat.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Azad as well. This feels like one of those situations where Raposo is probably just going to fight out the remainder of his contract. I feel like they're giving him fights that are pretty tough to win, and it's probably just going to stall it out. He'll get a couple more losses and then return to the regional scene or something like that, because this doesn't feel like a matchup that they are making to gas up Raposo's stock here. I like Maxim as well. I think he's just far more talented, pretty much all around. I don't see a clear path to victory for Raposo.
Yeah, I'll take Assad by decision. See if they get the distance. All right, on to the next one. Hamdi Abdulwahab versus Chris Barnett. Looks like we got a battle of beasts here.
Let's fucking go, dude. Hype for this one. Yeah, we got Chris Barnett going up against Hamdi, the battle of the fatties. Chris actually surprisingly spry for his rotundness. He's very powerful. Always live in the first round. Obviously, he gasses out a bit as the fight goes on, but he can move very well for a heavyweight. He's exciting, spinning attacks, stuff like that you don't see a lot from heavyweight fighters. Coming off a knockout loss to Kennedy and Chukwu.
That wasn't a knockout.
Yeah, he got injured walking into the ring, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, he literally like tore his Achilles right as he like did a backflip or something. Like it was generally not his control.
Yeah, exactly. And then Hamdi, dude, is coming off like the most boring fight in the world against Muhammad Usman, where neither of them did anything at all. And which is surprising to me because Hamdi is an Olympic wrestler. He's on the Egyptian Olympic wrestling team. He just doesn't wrestle at all, and the striking is really bad. Cardio isn't there. I think that might have something to do with like why we don't see him use that wrestling background as much, just because I think he's just worried about getting stuck on the bottom. And yeah, could one of you guys pull up the odds for this fight? I'm curious because
it's minus 300 on the Hamdi side, I believe.
Dude, that's disgusting. Don't bet on Hamdi. Don't ever bet on Hamdi. I'm gonna pick Chris Barnett, dude. I'm gonna pick Chris Barnett by first round knockout. I mean, I don't think personally you should be betting on anything else in this fight. We'll probably get some fun odds for that when that comes out. Otherwise, I mean, this is just gonna be whack.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one you just don't wager on and you just watch the chaos unfold. I think Hamdi is the better wrestler in here, which feels like probably the main advantage in how he would potentially stall this one out or just like tire out Chris Barnett. But I mean, it's not anything worth taking at minus 300. There's no world where you're backing Hamdi in that situation. So I think you probably just turn on the TV and just watch two boys go at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barnett by knockout. I am really surprised the line is set this way. Chris Barnett has vast UFC experience. Hamdi barely has UFC experience. And if we're being real, he pretty much has lost all of his fights as well. They aren't impressive wins. They're against the worst fighters. Chris Barnett's a very seasoned vet who we also just quite literally stated did a dumb mistake at the beginning of the fight that got him injured, and that's why he was knocked out. It wasn't like, I don't know.
Yeah. Chris, let's do some stretching before the fight this time instead of fucking flips.
Yeah, let's do some actual stretching. I don't know. I actually really like this as a dog swing. I think it's very sharp. All right, on to the next one. We got Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Delgado. Outside of a modeling stint for Nathaniel Wood, what should we be expecting here?
Hey, don't disrespect Delgado like that. He's got it too. But yeah, this should be a fun one. I think it's going to be a really close one, honestly. I'm a fan of both of these guys. Nathaniel Wood is kind of like a dark horse sort of guy. I guess I think I'm just mostly remembering him from the Morgan Charrier fight where he won that one as a big underdog, I believe. And then Jose Delgado, very, very dangerous guy. All wins coming by way of finish. Most recently knocked out Iron Chin Hyder Emil with a knee knockout. That was very exciting. And style-wise, Delgado, mostly a striker, very, very good kicks, uses kicks to manage range well. also very powerful, so he's cool with brawling in the pocket as well. He can grapple. Takedowns are solid. Averages 4.58 a fight. So the control obviously isn't there, but he can grapple. He does look for those takedowns, and just a pretty well-rounded guy. Wood, very good boxer. I'd say the biggest difference between him and Delgado is that he's more interested in making things dirty, getting inside the pocket, and damaging you that way. He's very powerful, sharp knees, sharp elbows, good takedowns when he's in the clinch, like especially on the cage. He's very strong, averages 1.41 takedowns a fight, good striking differential, 5.66 strikes landed to 3.89 absorbed, and also very good takedown defense on both of these guys, sitting at around 70%. And Wood is coming off the Morgan Charriere win. He had a ton of leg kicks, dropped him in that fight. Delgado, super, super dangerous. Hyder Emil, known for being hard to finish, and we just saw Jose get that. Wood has, I would say, far better wins on his resume than Delgado does, in the likes of like Morgan Charriere, which, I mean, that might age poorly, like Morgan, yeah, but Charles Jourdain, Castaneda, Andre Fili. He's fought a bunch of good fighters, and he gets good wins. All of those, I think, are probably better than Delgado's best win. But I do like Delgado as a prospect. He passes the eye test for me. I'm going to go with Delgado by decision here, though, because I do think Nathaniel Wood is really tough. He hasn't been finished by anybody since 2020. So, I mean, everyone thinks of this guy Delgado as a finisher, but I'm going to take a swing on him to just grind out a decision.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to take the underdog in Nathaniel Wood. I think we were on that side in the Charriere fight. At least some of us were.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he might have gotten a better opponent than this. I'm not that Jose Delgado isn't good. He's definitely a good prospect, but just more someone that was ranked higher in the division after a win like that. Instead, they kind of screwed him and gave him like a hyped prospect that if you lose to will tank your stock kind of, but if you beat, people are gonna be like, he was a fraud anyway. So
yeah,
kind of a tough situation to put him in. I think for me it's either Nathaniel Wood or pass. I just trust the boxing ability and the chin to kind of carry him through and get into a later round in this one and then see what happens. But I'll probably make a decision closer to this one, but for now it's either Wood or nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Wood by sub. See if he gets it done. All right, on to the next one. Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. I don't understand the point of this fight, but let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely prefacing this with we will be betting the first round heel hook, but I mean, I love that the Walter fight got canceled. He was supposed to fight in Rio, Louis in Perth. Both their opponents were cut. And yeah, Walter, we know who he is. He is Brazilian, brother of Johnny Walker, doesn't fight like Johnny at all. Mostly a wrestler because he spent a lot of his time training in Russia. Came in, shit show in his UFC debut, made some adjustments after that, went through a physical transformation as well, came back 3 heel hooks in a row, most in UFC history. On an incredible run right now, looking to take down the UFC newcomer in Louis the Vanilla Gorilla Sutherland. And yeah, sorry, the most recent heel hook was Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Kennedy shot a horrible takedown in that one. And Louis Sutherland, pretty decent striker, like moves well on the feet for his size. He's very long, very powerful hands. When he decides to let his hands go, he definitely can be hittable too. But he does a pretty good job at managing range, which helps keep his opponent at bay when he's striking. He doesn't really wrestle at all. He has shot a couple takedowns, but he's definitely just like a boxing type dude. Believe he is like self-trained largely, but Walter, I mean, if he can't get it to the ground for some reason, like Louis could 100% win, but I just see this going to the ground pretty much instantly, and then Walter taking over from there. So, gonna go with Walter.
Yeah, I'm taking Volter as well. And what kind of man would I be if I didn't take the heel hook exact method of submission if that ends up popping up on some of our websites here? But I am very confident in him winning the fight as well. So at that value, you're probably not going to get much out of it unless you're stacking it with a bunch of other heavy favorites or something. But at minus 400, it's going to be tough. The line is over 1.5 rounds, which maybe you could take the under there and a potential exact sub method, but we'll see those come out as the fight gets closer. But I will be taking one of those just for the vibes. How can you not?
Yeah, I'm just going to go Walter Walker by sub. These are just fights that shouldn't happen, as dumb as it sounds, in my opinion. Like, Louis is just not a dude.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen his physique too? Like he used to be fucking jacked, and then he got popped for steroids, and now he's got like the melted ice cream body.
Yeah, that's just anything but ideal, man.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one. Abdul Karim Al Sawadi versus Mateus Camilo. What should we be expecting here? Sounds like a fun fight on paper.
Yeah, I think it should be a interesting fight for sure. One that I'm not like very confident either way on. Abdul, pretty good fighter, good striker, good volume, 4.14 strikes landed to 3.6 absorbed. He does get hit a lot, but he doesn't have like horrible striking defense or anything. He has good head movement. Takedown defense is not amazing. He isn't like it's mostly just him like running away, but he is very fast, which can make him hard to tack down at some points. But he does have pretty good takedowns of his own. They're not the most accurate, but he is strong. Coming off, and he averages about 2.3 a fight. He's coming off his debut loss in the UFC and then has had a bunch of fights canceled since then. So hopefully this one happens. Mateus Camilo, he is, I would say, a bit more well-rounded than Abdul Karim is. He's a BJJ black belt, decent grappling. He's also a good striker. Plenty of power, 15 minutes of cardio. Will absolutely throw everything at you if he sees an opening. Will just, let his hands go. Is totally okay with the dogfight. Thrives in the chaos. When he gets it to the ground, he's got pretty good positioning. He will chase submissions. He is pretty dangerous. That is what led to him eventually losing to Gane. He looked good, was winning that fight early. He had a takedown, got on top of him, and then he rolled for an arm triangle and was submitted right after that. So hopefully he doesn't get too chasey here against Abdul, but this is a tough fight to pick, like I said. Gonna lean Abdul. I think he's going to be the faster guy when Camilo starts chasing. He tends to get pretty frantic on the feet if things aren't going his way. And I think Abdul can just like be the more composed fighter, sort of take over in the second and third rounds when Mateus kind of starts to get desperate. Yeah, he's the more accurate striker. That's the main reason why I'm picking him.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Abdul fan. I think I understand the marketability and why it would be so great for the company if he was good, just because of the massive audience in the UAE, and kind of just having a guy that could headline or bring some fun to those cards instead of having like Hamzat represent the UAE. You'd have a more legitimate representative from there. So it feels like the UFC is probably propping him up to some extent. So I'm going to take him in this fight, just because I feel like they gave him an opponent that he can at least contend with. And if things get sketchy, I'm gonna back their money interests and potential backers to get a riggery done and get Abdul the win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Abdul here by decision. I don't know. He's got that one really nice win over. Not exactly what his name was when I was going through this, but yeah, Mega Galaxy trending now on NBA. Yeah. So on to the next one. Ludwig Klein versus Mateus Rebecki. Let's get into it here. I guess you can't really say their prospects.
Yeah.
fight history they have. But yeah,
Yeah, but two solid guys for sure. Rebecca, literally, I don't know. Like, I don't know how he's fighting in this fight. He just got his face absolutely rearranged by Chris Duncan. But good on him, I guess, for staying active. He is a really, really talented grappler wrestler. He is good on the feet too. Um, I mean, it's mostly just there to set up the takedowns, but he's very powerful. Sits behind a jab, good 1-2s, and then pretty much rushes to get that takedown as fast as he can. He averages 3.46 a fight. When he does get you on the ground, finally, he is usually chasing that finish. Can be a little bit wild at points, give his opponents maybe some space to get out from under, but he has very, very good cardio considering how fast he pushes the pace of fights. He is very sloppy and he wears damage. Like I said, Chris Duncan basically just like fucking peeled his, sorry for the language, but peeled his face off. And yeah, Ludwig Klein is a really solid striker, so that's something to worry about here. Klein, not really known as a finisher, but I mean, it's kind of a perfect situation with Rebecca coming right off of that Duncan win. So who knows? But he's a very good striker. He's very fast, very accurate, technical guy. Sits behind the jab, nice kicks, throws with intent 99% of the time. His takedown defense usually holds up. He's 100% going to need that here. I do think Rebecca's going to get to the ground at some point. And that takedown defense on paper also is probably even better than it is, just because he's coming off a Gamrot decision loss where he gave up a bunch of takedowns. He also defended a ton of takedowns in that fight. But Rebecca is a savage. I think he's the better fighter of the two of these guys for sure. I'm just really worried about how much he wears damage, like how bad he got beaten up by Chris Duncan in that last fight. Like, if this were a normal amount of time removed from the Duncan fight, I would probably just be on the Rebecca side to grind out a wrestling decision. So I mean, I'm gonna try to ignore that and just like be like Rebecca's the better fighter. So I'll pick Rebecca, but I do think the fun bet for this one is going to be like a Ludwig Klein knockout, because normally, even despite him being a striker, he's not really a finisher, and I think this is a decent opportunity for him to get a striking finish. So
yeah, I think Klein is going to be my pick here. I think that the loss recently is tough, and it's kind of a similar build or type of opponent that Rebecca will be. But I just think Rebecca's absorbed too much damage, like you said, and that's probably going to be the ultimate thing that takes me over the edge here on taking the Klein side of things. He is a slight favorite, but I think it could be a nice little piece to put with other things, or take a KO, like you said, because that feels like the most likely way that it ends on his side is just too much damage taken in a short period of time for Rebecca, and you land one clean and kind of shuts off the body of Matisse Rebecca. I do think that Klein, while he's not like a great grappler or an elite wrestler, I think he can manage control just enough to kind of stall out those areas, and he's capable of getting up. So I don't see him getting into too much danger there if he just kind of sticks to that game plan and is able to continue his progression on the ground. But yeah, I'm going to take Klein.
Yeah, Klein by decision for me. All right. On to the next one. We got Ikram Ozgarov versus Park Jun-young. What should we be expecting here?
yeah, this should be a fun one. We got the Iron Turtle making his return to the mat, going up against Ikram, who is a very, very well-rounded guy. Obviously, insanely high output on the feet. He has a wrestling background. I combine the words Russian and wrestling there, but he doesn't really need it at all in the UFC because his hands are so good. Very, very good striking differential, high output, powerful. When he is wrestling, very, very strong, nonstop pressure, really, really good top control. Throws and combos on the feet, good striking defense, high guard. He does all the things you want a well-rounded UFC fighter to do. Jun-young Park, one of the best minute winners in the UFC. Very, very good cage control, decent jab. He's not amazing anywhere, good everywhere. Good wrestling, averages 1.87 takedowns a fight. But he can do all the things too. He can grapple, he can strike, he can wrestle. Not a ton of power. Most of his wins come by way of decision and just grinding it out. But he is very, very tough himself, and he's coming off a win over Ismail Bonfim, where he just demonstrated his toughness, took an illegal knee, kept fighting, grinded his way to a victory. And yeah, I'm going to go Ikram Aliskerov by knockout. I think if he can't find the knockout here, honestly, Jun Young Park probably gets the win, but I'm rather confident Ikram will be able to find that shin at some point in this one. Ikram knocked out Andre Muniz. Park lost to Andre Muniz in the decision where he got taken down a shit ton of times by Muniz. I think, that's just clear UFC math right there, transitive property. So, yeah, Ikram by KO.
Yeah, I think Ikram's wrestling defense is pretty good. I feel like he's proven that throughout his career, and it's probably only getting better. And I think if he can stuff these takedowns, it should be kind of a walk in the park where he can get some free swings in. And Park is okay at winning minutes as a striker and can do that pretty successfully, but he has like no power. I think if there's a striking match, he's going to be hitting with like pillows, and then you just need a couple larger strikes from Ikram to land, and he'll do some real damage on Jun Young in this one. So I'm all over the Ikram side as well with you.
Let's go.
Ikram first round knockout. I feel bad for Jun Young Park because this is just like hitting around the slaughter. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand why they're giving him lower tier fighters now because he had like one loss. Like, I don't know.
Dude, yeah. I feel like the odds are decent for, like, I mean, on the Ikram side, like they're around minus 250 when I checked, which I don't think is bad at all, really. Like,
it should be minus 600. Like, this isn't going to be a fight. This is going to be a slaughter. I don't know what they're doing in the UFC. Sometimes I feel like they just, I don't know. I just feel bad. Like, I like Jun Young Park. He seems like a cool dude. It's just like Ikram is in a completely different level. And we went from, this is the guy who's the only person to beat Khamzat to Jun Young Park. No disrespect to him. It just,
yeah, bro, someone's going to clip you. An Iron Turtle Stan is going to clip you and post you on Talk once he gets the knockout.
It's going to like start with you talking, and then it's going to go into like that turtle from Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be a fucking blue shell from Mario Kart. It's going to come in and nuke my cake.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that plays out. All right. Nasrat Haqparast versus Quillan Salkid. Quillan just doesn't look like that dude. I'm going to be honest. The look just isn't it for me, but I want to hear more. He's intriguing.
Dude, also weird vowel placement on these last names here.
Yeah,
Haqparast and Salkid. But yeah, I have bets in already on this fight, confident in one of these two sides. Nasrat, very, very competent striker, lands 6.4 strikes a minute, 6.01 absorbs. Obviously, he gets hit a lot, but super high output. Quillan, also a pretty high output guy, not quite as rhythmic as Nasrat is in the striking department, though. Nasrat always looks insanely good when he's controlling the pace of the fight on the front foot, but you can definitely shake him a little bit if you are applying pressure, staying in his face the whole fight. And he is coming off the decision to Esteban Ribovics. And Quillan Salkid, pretty well-rounded guy, good grappling. He is a BJJ black belt. Decent striker too, decent takedowns. He will sneak in takedowns as soon as you start having some success against him in the striking department. So expect Nasrat's takedown defense to be challenged here, because I do think Nasrat is a step ahead in the striking department. But Quillan is a very exciting fighter, definitely headhunts a little bit. Well-rounded too. He could win anywhere on the mat, coming off a decision win over Yanal Ashmouz, where that exact same thing I mentioned started happening. He was losing a bit on the feet, switched to the wrestling. It worked out for him. And yeah, both of these guys are really good grapplers. Both of these guys are high-volume strikers. Should be an exciting fight. I think Nasrat is the more technical of the two. I think his volume is going to be a big problem for Quillen here. And Quillen's definitely not going to be able to wrestle the same way he was able to against Yanal Ashmuz. Nasrat can even work in his own takedowns if he wants to. So Nasrat is the pick. I already have a bet on this one. Curious to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm down to ride with you. I think you have more confidence than I did on this one. It felt like a kind of a big jump up for Quillen in this one. 3 wins against basically trash cans in the past, and I completely agree with him not being able to have the same success on the ground as he has prior, which I think was kind of a big way for him to stall out some of those fights because he only finished Anshul Jubilee. Other 2 wins coming by decision where the wrestling is huge and just kind of outpointing his opponent. And I don't think that'll be the case here. I like Nasrat as well. I think he's far more skilled and just kind of has more of a well-rounded base that I think he can rely on and kind of cruise to a victory here, probably by decision if I had to take it. Is that what you were thinking as well?
Yeah, I'd say probably a decision.
Sweet.
Yeah. Give me a hot press by knockout. I think Quillen's going to be seen as a fraud. I don't agree with the line. Too much UFC experience, and like Grant just outlined, literally pure trash cans. No disrespect.
Yeah.
Obviously, would beat my ass. Like, I'm a face on the internet. Like, let's make that transparent. But like, competition-wise, it's just not the same.
Yeah, line seems wrong, honestly. Like the even odds.
I'd put it -200 for Haqparast. I think that'd be more fair. But all right, on to the next one. Alexander Rakic versus Asmat Mirzakhanov. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've seen both of these fighters fight before, so let's get into it.
Yeah, this should be a fun one. Huge reach advantage here for Alexander Rakic, which definitely plays into his style. Similarly, though, being more compact and being able to sneak your way into the pocket sort of fits Azamat's fighting style more. So this should be a fun clash here. Rakic, like I said, uses his length and reach really well. He has a 78-inch reach. He's 6'4", and he's a very good, accurate striker. Mostly is winning decisions because he likes to stay at range. He has good kicks. Works all 3 levels of the body: good leg kicks, good body kicks, good head kicks. He definitely has power, but he just prefers to stay on the outside. He is lower volume and is okay just kind of being technical, using that footwork, using those kicks to control range. And he is riding a pretty unfortunate 3-fight losing streak. On the tail end was a big Ank loss. And Azamat Mirzakhanov, like I said, much shorter here. He's got a 7-inch reach disadvantage. He is very, very powerful, very fast for his size. He has knockdowns in every single one of his UFC fights. He's also a good wrestler. Hasn't really need to use it too much, but he's very, very competent there. He has it in his back pocket if he does. And Rakic, not super dangerous. He has been losing, but I just think he can keep it boring here, which is 100% what he's going to try to do. Azamat's wins, I mean, he's so powerful, but it's like he pretty much was like multiple of his wins where he got knockdowns and then finished the fight. Like he was losing that fight before he was able to just like land a sick shot on them one time and change the direction of the fight. So I think Rakic has the technicality to keep and the defense to keep this at range. Seems like a decent matchup physically. So I'm going to go Rakic.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like pretty much a 50-50 in this one, and the odds would say the same. I look at both of these fighters pretty similarly in terms of kind of their career paths and things like that. I'm probably going to take the Rakic side as well with you. I think the reach advantage and height advantage and things like that just could be the difference. It's the only tangible difference you can really see when you're looking at these statistics and kind of looking at some tape and things like that. But there's also the underdog and what feels like a pick'em fight. I feel like that's kind of the lean I tend to take. So for me, either underdog or pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Rakic by decision here. I don't know. Azamat, he's fought a lot of great fighters. I guess this is just more of a test. We'll see. All right. On to the next one. Alexander Volkov versus Gelatin Almeida. What should we be expecting here?
Yep, we got a pretty good fight here. Gilton has been nasty recently. Volkov coming off a decision loss to Cyril Gane, which a lot of people thought he might have won. But he's a good striker, good takedown defense over a large sample size too. High volume, lands 4.97 strikes a minute, absorbs 2.99 significant strikes. Has fought a who's who of the heavyweight division, pretty much everyone who's good. Like I said, coming off that Cyril Gane questionable loss. And Jalton Almeida, insanely good wrestler, probably the best wrestler in the division. Um, very powerful hands, BJJ black belt. All but one of his wins come by way of finish. On the ground, super dangerous, really nasty transitions, will chase the submission. Um, his one decision fight that he went to was a dominant win. And he is coming off the Spivak TKO. I think Jalton should be able to wrestle his way to a win here. He's so dangerous once he gets it to the ground. Volkov is the better striker, fist fighter, but Jalton, I think he can literally just spam the wrestling in this one and get it done, either by decision or by sub. So I'm going to go with Almeida.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see why Almeida's the favorite, and Volkov's a guy that struggled with wrestling in the past. Curtis Blades was able to stall out a fight there, and Tom Aspinall did really well on the ground there and submitted him in that fight. I will say that Almeida, his most elite asset on the ground is not like the wrestling and gaining top control. It's once he's there, it's over, and he's an elite jiu-jitsu practitioner that once he's in those positions can make all the right maneuvers to end a fight. But I don't know that he'll fully be able to get into those positions as much as the odds might say, because Volkov's done a good job of getting up in a lot of situations unless he's against like elite top control holders. So that is a little bit dicey, because I think if this one is standing, I would trust Volkov more. And in heavyweight in general, I feel like the powerful heavy strikers always have a path to victory. So it's probably a pass for me at this price. If I had to take someone to win, I think I would take Almeida, but it's closer to a 50-50 fight, which, given the odds, would lead me to take Volkov, I guess. But for now, a pass. I think Volkov is a tad more live than the odds might say, though.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Volkov by knockout. I think he's just fought the better competition. All right, on to the next one here. We got Umar Nurmagomedov. I can't even pronounce it. Versus Mario Batista. What should we be expecting here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and one that I'm likely going to be staying off of just because I saw that Umar was a huge favorite. I don't know exactly where he's sitting now. I would imagine
625.
Oh, that's it, he was like minus 400 when I checked. But yeah, that's crazy. Just because like all of Umar's wins are on such small margins. It's like, and Mario Batista is the same, but he's very, very good. And yeah, Umar, basically textbook Dagestani guy, nonstop wrestling, decent striker too, good kicks, karate style stance, manages range well. Classic Russian chain wrestler with some striking to back it up. And he is coming off the decision loss to Murav Davashvili, where he broke his hand, but he did win the first two rounds on the judges' scorecards before doing so. Mario Batista, very high volume, in your face striker, super pressure oriented. He does get hit a lot just because he thrives in the chaos so much, but he lands a ton, gets hit a ton. He's very tough. He seems to get better with every fight. He's on an 8-fight win streak. Most recently beat Patchy Mix, the bum, where he landed a ton on him. Looked good against
Patchy,
Murav.
the
Yeah.
bum.
Fucking Patchy Mix, bro. I hate even saying his name.
Mix.
But yeah, it looked fine against Marab until breaking his hand. I mean, Marab normally just kind of starts taking over towards the end, anyways. But it's worth noting uh, he has solid cardio. I think Umar is going to be the pick, but I just don't know, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Umar in a snooze fest, but there's no value at that number at all. I'm not gonna get involved in this fight at all.
Yeah, Umar by sub in the first round. I love Bautista, but this is
Wow.
Dude,
The
No,
under
not
two and
getting
a
the
half
sub
in
in the
this
first
round Wells
round.
is plus 200, so you should probably get involved there.
yeah. So, all right, on to the next one. We got Verna Yonderoba versus Mackenzie Dern. What should we be expecting here?
Yeah, this should be a fun fight, title fight here, because Wei Li moved up divisions to fight Valentina Shevchenko for that belt. Um, and this is actually a rematch. Mackenzie Dern won a decision against Verna in their first fight. Verna, very, very nasty on the ground. Striking is pretty much just there to set up like the takedowns and the grappling. Pretty solid volume, though. Striking defense, not very good at all, really. Doesn't move the head a ton. She has a negative striking differential. It's really just there to not get knocked out before she takes it to the ground, where she is a really, really good wrestler, coming off the Yan Xiaonan win, where she took her down 3 times, had 10 plus minutes of control time, just looked great in that one. Mackenzie Dern, also very good grappler, nasty BJJ, just has not improved any other skill set outside of her BJJ in her pretty long UFC tenure now. Has perhaps the worst takedown accuracy I've ever seen at 17%, takedown defense almost the worst I've ever seen at 25%. But she never quits. She's very, very durable. She's coming off of the submission win over Amanda Ribas. Um, and yeah, this is a rematch where Mackenzie Dern won the first time. I think Verna has evolved a ton since that first fight, though. I think she can get it done here. She's the better wrestler by a lot. I don't really foresee Mackenzie Dern getting the sub. I don't even think Verna's going to let her off her back. So I am going to go with Verna Hondiroba. It's going to be a close quarters fight on the ground for pretty much the entire time. So, I mean, Dern will have the opportunities for a sub, but I think that's pretty much the only way she's going to get this one done. And I trust Verna to wrestle her way to a decision victory in this one.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Dern as the underdog to open this fight. It's been bet to her being a decent favorite in this one at minus 150 ish. I like Dern a lot in this fight personally. I think that Verna definitely has the clear wrestling advantage, and I think Mackenzie Dern has a clear striking advantage in this one. So it's kind of one of those things where if Verna is comfortable taking all the takedowns and stalling it out, that's fine. But Dern is also a skilled BJJ practitioner and could end the fight there as well. And I think that could cause some hesitancy in Verna to really pushing the pace in the wrestling world, just because Mackenzie Dern is certainly dangerous down there. I just think every fight starts standing up. I think Mackenzie Dern has a clear advantage in that realm and could lead to some outpointing. It'll be interesting to see. I think a lot of Mackenzie Dern's takedown defense inefficiencies are because she's comfortable in that type of world and is capable of shooting her own BJJ shots. So it's kind of one of those things where she might be comfortable going to the ground like a Charles Oliveira or something like that. Nowhere near that level, obviously, but I think as long as she's able to get up from certain wrestling takedowns and things like that and fend off some, the advantage standing up and also the kind of wild card on the ground is enough to make me take that side here.
I'm going to be on the Verna side, my decision here.
Let's
I'm
go.
kind of surprised to see that much odds movement. To me, from what it sounds like, I think you both have compelling arguments, but it just sounds like it should be 50-50. Like, that's how I'd weigh it based off their competition as well. All right. Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. Yeah, I feel like the man that Grant's in love with. So I kind of want to start here, to be honest, Grant, and get us going on this one.
Hit us, Grant.
Yeah, big Tom Aspinall guy. hit a crazy play on him to be the UFC heavyweight champ a couple years ago by end of year. That was when the belt was vacated and he ended up holding it when that time came. So that was great. Always liked watching Tom Aspinall fight. Obviously a long layoff there with the terrible leg injury, but he's bounced back incredibly well and better than I think a lot of people assumed he would. I'm going to be on Aspinall by sub here. I think the regular line at minus 355 is a tad bit disrespectful to Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane is super evasive. He's quick. He's capable of striking. He's very skilled standing up. I just think that Aspinall hits harder and has a significant advantage on the ground. And that ground advantage is probably going to be how he dominates this one. And that sub line is pretty much the only way to get a decent value here, unless you want to take another method or something. But this one just feels like the most likely, and it's a good shot at making some plus money on a fighter that's a huge favorite. I think the grappling advantage is just the clear separator between the two here, and the power. If it ends up being a striking fight, I'm confident Tom Aspinall being able to get it done and take his spots and land some clean and heavy strikes. But the takedown defense and ability to create takedowns from Tom Aspinall is pretty ridiculous, and he's pretty comfortable on the ground finding submissions as well. So that's the lean I'm going to take here.
Yeah, I'm with you on Aspinall, and I might even be a little more confident than you are in Tom, because I just don't really understand the Cyril Gane glaze. Like, he lost to Volkov pretty much. The UFC has thrown him into this. This is going to be his third title fight. He's about to go 0-3 in title fights. Like, I don't understand why we keep giving this dude these fights, but he's just so much less well-rounded than Tom Aspinall is. He is a very good, technical striker, but Tom should just pick this dude apart. I think it's an easy dub.
Yeah, I think if Gane can somehow keep this fight off the ground, like he can at least hang standing up and is skilled enough to land a couple blows that might change the fight. But for me, I think Aspinall is smarter than that and is not going to kind of fall into that trap, and I think dominates this one on the mat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Aspinall by decision. We'll see how this one goes.
By decision, damn.
Yeah.
Dude, Aspinall has fought a composite 16 minutes in his 9 UFC fights.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I just think from a narrative sense, it's either he's going to get the sub or there's going to be plenty of things for the Aspinall fans to bitch about because Jones subbed Gane, and that's all they're all for here.
It is kind of one of those things where, like, obviously him only fighting 16 minutes in his entire career is ridiculous, but you don't really know what he looks like in round 4 of a fight or something. Not that this one's going to get there, but it's one of those things where if it does, you don't really know what that looks like on paper. And Gane, I guess, has been finished in a title fight before and stuff like that too. So it's kind of a dark, murky waters for both these guys. You don't really know what that fight looks like. So I guess that's the path that Gane survives for 2 rounds and they're in a round 3 and you just hope it's close to a pick'em by then or something. But
who knows? Maybe Tom just falls apart in 4th and 5th rounds and we don't know about it yet.
I'm rather confident he'll win the fight. I
agreed.
would be surprised if he lost.
The line's 1.5 rounds too, so
yeah.
Damn.
All right.
Not supposed to get 5 by any means.
Subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, peace, y'all.
Peace.